The weight of the city presses down, even 30 floors up. Outside this glass-walled boardroom, New York hums its relentless tune, a symphony of ambition and indifference. Inside, the air is thick with a different kind of pressure, the expectant silence of my executive team as they wait for my decision. My name, the one they know, is spoken only in hushed, almost reverent tones. The enigmatic founder and CEO of AuraTech. They see the silhouette against the skyline, the hand gesturing decisively, the voice cutting through complex projections with unwavering clarity. Today, it's about the IPO. Billions are on the line. Careers hang in the balance, mine included, though they don't know the half of it. The revised projections hold, I state, my voice echoing slightly in the minimalist space. Phase for integration is non-negotiable pre-IPO. Secure the server redundancy protocols by end of week. Michael, Sarah, coordinate on the press strategy draft. I want it on my desk by tomorrow. Heads nod, fingers fly across tablets. There is respect in their posture. Perhaps a little fear. They see power. They see success. They see the carefully constructed facade. They don't see Amelia Davenport. They certainly don't see Anna. Later, the city lights paint long, cold stripes across the polished marble floor. The daytime hum has faded, replaced by the lonely drone of the HVAC system and the rhythmic swoosh of my mop. The sharp scent of industrial cleaner stings my nostrils, a familiar perfume in this second life. My reflection stares back from the gleaming surface, tired eyes, hair scraped back in a messy bun under a cheap beanie, the ill-fitting gray uniform swallowing my frame. This is Anna, the night cleaner, anonymous, invisible. Two young programmers, working late, walk past, their conversation drifting down the corridor. Seriously, have you seen the CEO? Like, ever? One asks, adjusting his glasses. Nah, man, total ghost. But whoever they are, they're a genius. This IPO is going to be insane. We're talking legend status. The other sounds awestruck. A small, tired smile plays on my lips, tasting like irony and disinfectant. Legend status. If only they knew the legend spent her nights scrubbing their coffee spills off the floor. It's a peculiar kind of torture, hearing your own praises sung while existing as a ghost in the machine you built. But it's necessary. Every drop of sweat, every condescending glance I endure as Anna fuels the fire that burns within Amelia. The transition is always jarring, shedding the AuraTech CEO skin, leaving the gleaming tar behind, and driving my beat-up 20-year-old sedan towards the Upper East Side feels like stepping between dimensions. Tonight is family dinner, a mandatory performance in the theater of Davenport expectations. The Davenport townhouse dining room is a cavern of polished mahogany and hushed judgment. Crystal glasses gleam under the chandelier, reflecting the strained smiles on my parents' faces. Harrison and Beatrice Davenport, pillars of New York society, masters of the disappointed sigh and the subtly cutting remark. My brother, Julian, leans back in his chair, radiating the smug satisfaction of a successful finance lawyer who's never doubted his place in the world. Claire, my younger sister, scrolls through her phone, occasionally offering a saccharine comment that barely conceals her pity. I'm dressed down, as always, old jeans, a faded sweater. It's partly costume reinforcing the narrative of the struggling daughter and partly self-preservation. Dressing up would invite comparisons I'm not yet ready to face head-on. Amelia, dear, Beatrice begins, her voice smooth as silk, but layered with concern that feels suspiciously like condescension. How is everything going with your job? Still enjoying the janitorial work? She makes the words sound like an unfortunate medical condition. I focus on cutting my overcooked asparagus. It's fine, mother. Pays the bills. The lie tastes like gush. Pays the bills. Harrison echoes, swirling his wine. One hopes it leads somewhere eventually. Though, frankly, Amelia, we always imagined more for you. He gestures vaguely, encompassing the room, the legacy, the expectation I've so thoroughly failed. Unlike Julian, he continues, beaming at my brother, closing that massive merger last week. Made partner track. Didn't you, son? Julian preens. Just hard work, Dad, and knowing the right people. Of course. He glances at me, a flicker of disdain in his eyes. Still driving that old rust bucket. Amelia saw it parked outside. Honestly, it's an embarrassment. It runs, I murmur, clenching my fork. The metal digs into my palm. Claire chimes in, holding up her wrist to showcase a new diamond tennis bracelet. Oh, Amelia, you wouldn't believe the stress of influencer life. This brand collaboration was just draining. But look, she beams, oblivious or deliberately cruel. Maybe once you save up a bit, you could get something nice for yourself, even something small. The air crackles with unspoken judgment. Their disappointment isn't just about my fictional low-wage job. It's rooted deeper. It's about my refusal to follow the prescribed path, the Ivy League legacy, the suitable marriage, the seamless integration into their world. My passion for technology, ignited by my grandfather Theodore, was always dismissed as a quirky, unfeminine hobby. Not substantial, Father had declared. Not Davenport material. A flash of memory cuts through the present discomfort. Grandfather Theodore's workshop, smelling of solder and old books. He's leaning over my shoulder as I struggle with a circuit board, his eyes twinkling. Don't let them define your sky, Amelia, he'd said, his voice warm with belief. Your mind sees things they can't. Build your world. They'll catch up eventually, or they won't. It doesn't matter, as long as you stay true to what drives you. He was the only one who saw potential instead of peculiarity, the only one who didn't measure my worth by social standing or financial connections. His faith is the bedrock upon which AuraTech is built. My family's pitying glances, Julian's sneer, Clara's vapid materialism, they don't know they are forging the weapon I'll eventually use. Each dismissive word, each sigh of disappointment, hammers my resolve into something harder, sharper. This isn't just about proving them wrong anymore. It's about reclaiming the narrative they tried to write for me. It's about showing them the monumental scale of their misjudgment. The pain they inflict is real, a dull ache beneath my ribs, but it transforms, molecule by molecule, into rocket fuel. I don't need their approval, but I will have their acknowledgement. I will force them to see me, not Anna the cleaner, not Amelia the family disappointment, but Amelia Davenport, the architect of her own damn world. I meet my father's gaze across the table, holding it for a fraction longer than comfortable. A flicker of surprise crosses his features before settling back into paternalistic concern. Inside, the CEO smiles. The wait is almost over. The days blur into a relentless cycle, a high-wire act performed without a net. By day, I am the unseen hand guiding AuraTech through treacherous waters. Crisis management meetings bleed into strategy sessions, decisions impacting thousands of employees, and millions in capital made from behind the tinted windows of my office or the sterile anonymity of a conference call. We land the coveted $50 million defense contract, a major coup that sends ripples through the industry. I see the elation on my team's faces during the announcement delivered via a carefully worded internal memo from the office of the CEO. Feel the buzz of success, the validation of years of relentless work. But the victory tastes muted, filtered through the veil of my secrecy. I inspire them, push them, demand excellence, but always from a distance, a voice without a face for most. The responsibility is immense, a crushing weight that settles deep in my bones, heavier than any fatigue from mopping floors. Then comes the night shift. The transformation is practiced, seamless. The power suits swap for gray overalls, confidence traded for weary anonymity. I walk the halls of my company, emptying trash bins in offices where hours earlier I made decisions worth fortunes. Sometimes, an employee working late will offer a brief, dismissive nod, or worse, complain about a missed spot on the carpet, their tone impatient, oblivious to the fact they're addressing the architect of their lucrative stock options. Each instance is a tiny pinprick, a reminder of the chasm between their perception and my reality. The loneliness is a constant companion. My inner apartment is a small, drab studio in a less fashionable part of town meticulously chosen for its believability. It smells faintly of dust and someone else's old cooking. Eating takeout on a worn futon, staring at the cracked ceiling, feels like inhabiting a stranger's life. Driving the sputtering old car, praying it won't break down, is an exercise in humility I force upon myself. It keeps the fire stoked. It reminds me of the world I'm supposedly trapped in, the world my family imagines for me. But the contrast is jarring, the psychic whiplash intense. Some nights, staring at the peeling paint, a wave of exhaustion washes over me. So profound I question the sanity of this elaborate charade. Is the eventual reckoning worth this constant, draining duality? The answer always comes back, sharp and clear, yes. For Grandfather Theodore, for myself, the tightrope trembles. One Friday evening, I'm scrubbing a stubborn stain near the executive elevators, lost in thought about a server issue, when the ding of an arriving car jolts me. The doors slide open, and my blood runs cold. Julian and Claire, laughing, dressed for a night out. Honestly, Julian, that gallery opening was dreadful, Claire is saying, adjusting her silk scarf. But Sebastian promised us a peek at his firm's new offices here. Supposedly the view is spectacular. My heart hammers against my ribs. I hunch lower over the mop bucket, turning my back, pulling the beanie down further. My face is obscured by shadow and downturn gaze. Don't look up. Don't react. Just be Anna the cleaner. Must be impressive if this snack space in the AuraTech building, Julian concedes, glancing round the lobby with proprietary interest, as if merely being related to someone me, though he doesn't know what grants him a stake. Heard their IPO is going to be massive. Wonder who the brains behind it is. They walk towards the security desk, mere feet away. My muscles tense, every nerve ending screaming. I focus on the rhythmic swoosh of the mop, making myself small, insignificant, part of the background fixtures. If they glance over, if Julian's sharp eyes catch a familiar line of my jaw, a specific gesture, the entire carefully constructed edifice could crumble. Clara wrinkles her nose slightly as she passes me. Ugh, smells like chemicals. They don't look directly at me. Why would they? I'm invisible. Furniture, part of the scenery they barely register. The elevator doors close behind them, and I sag against the wall, the mop handle slick with sweat in my grip. My breath comes in ragged gasps. That was too close. The risk, always simmering beneath the surface, just boiled over. The incident sharpens my focus. The IPO isn't just a strategic business move anymore. It's becoming an escape hatch. The pressure of maintaining this double life is intensifying, the near misses becoming statistically more likely. The constant vigilance, the emotional toll of the deception, the gnawing loneliness, it's reaching a breaking point. The end needs to be orchestrated, controlled, on my terms. Before chance rips the mask off prematurely, the city sprawls below my office window, a glittering tapestry woven with ambition, power, and secrets. My secrets, chief among them. Tonight, the lights seem brighter, sharper, mirroring the electric current humming beneath my own skin. News of the AuraTech IPO dominates the financial channels, speculation swirling around the identity of its mysterious founder. The valuation estimates are staggering, exceeding even my most optimistic projections. We did it. I did it. My gaze falls on the framed photograph on my desk. Grandfather Theodore, his eyes kind, his smile encouraging. He believed in me when no one else did, least of all my own family. He championed my fascination with circuits and code, saying not an anomaly, but a future. This success, this empire built from algorithms and sheer will, is as much his legacy as it is mine. The time has come, not because I crave the Davenport's validation that ship sailed long ago, wrecked on the rocks of their perpetual disappointment. No, this is about closure. It's about ending the exhausting performance of Anna. It's about stepping fully into the identity I forged in stealth. It's about honoring my grandfather's faith in a way that leaves no room for doubt. It's about forcing my family to confront the magnitude of their blindness. A flicker of doubt worms its way in. Is the potential fallout worth it? The public scrutiny, the inevitable family drama, the shattering of their carefully constructed world. But then I remember the countless small cuts, the casual dismissals, the weight of their pity. I remember Julian's sneer about my car, Beatrice's carefully phrased condescension, Harrison's open disappointment, Clara's vapid comparisons. The hurt, buried deep for years, surfaces not as rage, but as a cold, hard resolve. This isn't just about business. It's about reclaiming my own narrative. They need to see. They need to understand the person they so carelessly underestimated. The press conference is orchestrated with military precision. The ballroom glitters, packed with journalists, analysts, industry titans. The air crackles with anticipation, and there, seated in a prominent section invited as potential high-profile investors, a courtesy extended anonymously by my team or the Davenports. Harrison looks regal. Beatrice surveys the room with practiced social grace. Julian exudes bored superiority. And Clara is no doubt documenting the event for her followers. They exchange brief, knowing glances, likely speculating about the new money genius about to be revealed, oblivious to the earthquake about to rupture their reality. Their casual arrogance, even here, fuels the final surge of adrenaline in my veins. The MC's voice booms through the speakers, building the suspense. A company that has redefined the tech landscape, built from the ground up by a visionary leader who has remained, until now, intentionally out of the spotlight. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the founder and CEO of AuraTech. The spotlight swings, blindingly bright. I take a deep breath, centering myself. This is it. No more shadows. No more Anna. I step onto the stage, not in the drab gray uniform, but in a sharply tailored sapphire blue suit that radiates authority. My hair is styled, my makeup understated but deliberate. The fatigue is gone, replaced by a calm, focused energy. I walk to the podium, the click of my heels echoing in the sudden, stunned silence. Out of the corner of my eye, I track the reaction. It unfolds in slow motion, a tableau of disbelief. Harrison's polite smile freezes, then slackens into open-mouthed shock. Beatrice's hand flies to her chest, her eyes wide with incredulity. Claire's phone slips from her grasp, clattering onto the floor unheard amidst the rising murmur of the crowd. And Julian's face is a mask of utter confusion, morphing into something akin to horrified understanding. His smugness evaporates, replaced by a dawning, sickening realization. The murmurs swell into a roar of camera shutters and excited whispers. Is that Amelia Davenport, the daughter I thought she was? I reach the podium, scanning the room, my gaze finally landing, deliberately, on my family. I hold their shocked stares for a moment, letting the reality sink in. There is no malice in my expression, just the quiet weight of vindication. The look says everything I don't need to voice. Yes, it's me, the one you pitied, the one you dismissed. Look at me now. The years of hurt, the loneliness, the struggle, it culminates in this single, shattering moment of revelation. The power dynamic hasn't just shifted, it has been fundamentally, irrevocably overturned. The air in the private VIP room crackles with unspoken accusations and stunned silence. The Davenports stand clustered together, adrift in the wreckage of their assumptions. The shock has curdled into a mixture of shame, anger, and utter bewilderment. Harrison's face is pale. Beatrice avoids my gaze. Clara nervously fiddles with her bracelet. And Julian looks like he's been physically struck. I don't raise my voice. There's no need for dramatics now. The reveal was the explosion. This is the quiet devastation in its wake. My tone is calm, measured, but each word lands with precision. 5 years, I begin, looking directly at them, forcing them to meet my eyes. For 5 years, I listened. I listened to the pitying comments about Anna's job. I listened to the comparisons, the sighs of disappointment, the casual dismissals of my supposed lack of ambition. I turned to Julian. I heard the jokes about my rust bucket car. Julian, usually right after you boasted about your latest bonus. My gaze shifts to Clara. I saw the helpful suggestions. Clara, the subtle reminders of everything I didn't have according to your standards, to my parents, and I felt the weight of your collective disappointment, father, mother, the constant, unspoken judgment that I wasn't living up to the Davenport name, that I was wasting my potential on. Well, you never really knew, did you? Beatrice opens her mouth, a faint protest forming, but I raise a hand slightly, silencing her. I didn't build AuraTech for you. I continue, my voice steady. I didn't endure the double life, the exhaustion, the loneliness, seeking your approval. That was never the goal, and it certainly isn't now. I built it because grandfather Theodore believed I could. I built it to prove to myself that his faith wasn't misplaced. I needed a space where my worth wasn't measured by my connections or the family name, but by my intellect, my drive, my vision. The silence stretches, thick and uncomfortable. My success, I state, letting the words hang in the air, was achieved despite your lack of faith, not because of it. The Anna you pitied was funding the company you now admire. The embarrassment you felt was the price of the anonymity I needed to build this. Harrison finally speaks, his voice hoarse. Amelia, we had no idea. Exactly, I reply, the single word carrying the weight of years of misunderstanding. You never asked. You never looked beyond the surface you yourselves helped create. Julian manages a strangled sound. Why didn't you tell us? Would you have believed me? I counter, the question rhetorical. Would you have offered support? Or would you have tried to interfere? To mold it into something that fit your definition of success? To take credit for something you fundamentally misunderstood and undervalued? Their guilty silence is answer enough. The aftermath is a whirlwind. The Janitor CEO becomes an overnight media sensation. AuraTech's IPO is a spectacular success, exceeding all expectations. My face is suddenly everywhere: magazine covers, news segments, financial journals. The narrative is irresistible. The underestimated heiress who built a tech empire in secret while masquerading as a cleaner. Predictably, the Davenports are caught in the glare. They become footnotes in my story, objects of public curiosity, and thinly veiled scorn within their own social circles. The pity they once directed at me is now reflected back at them, magnified 1,000 times. My phone buzzes incessantly. Voicemails pile up. Texts arrive in flurries. The tone is jarringly different. Gone is the condescension, replaced by awkward congratulations, tentative pride, desperate attempts to bridge the chasm I revealed. Amelia, darling, its mother, just wanted to say, well, we're all simply stunned. And proud, of course. Terribly proud. Call me, click. Amelia, Julian, look, wow. Just wow. We should talk. Properly, click. Oh my god, Amelia, it's Clara. Saw you on TV. You look amazing. So successful. We have to celebrate. Lunch soon. Text me. Zoxo. I ignore them at first. There's a certain grim satisfaction, a vindication in their sudden scramble for connection. It feels earned. I pour my energy back into AuraTech, stabilizing things post-IPO, planning the next phase. The company, my company, is the priority. It always was. But eventually, the anger cools, leaving behind the familiar ache of fractured family ties. Holding onto the resentment feels like drinking poison and expecting them to suffer. Grandfather Theodore wouldn't have wanted that. He believed in building, not just structures of code and commerce, but bridges, however difficult. Weeks later, I agreed to meet them, not at the imposing townhouse, not in my sterile office, but on neutral ground, a quiet cafe downtown, away from prying eyes. The tension is palpable as they arrive, hesitant, uncertain. They look smaller somehow, stripped of their usual certainty. Harrison speaks first, his voice low, humbled. Amelia, we owe you an apology, a profound one. We were blind, prejudiced. We judged you based on our own narrow expectations, and we failed you. As parents, as family, we are truly sorry. Beatrice nods, tears welling in her eyes. We didn't see you, dear. We saw what we expected to see, and we were so wrong. Julian and Claire echoed the sentiments, their apologies less practiced, but seemingly sincere, tinged with undeniable embarrassment. I listen, studying their faces. The apology feels genuine, born perhaps less from altruism and more from the shock of public exposure and overturned assumptions. But it feels like a start. I accept your apology, I say quietly, and I see the relief wash over them. But I hold up a hand before they can celebrate. But acceptance doesn't erase the past. If you want a place in my life moving forward, it has to be based on who I am now, not the heiress, not the CEO of AuraTech, but Amelia, the person who built this herself, from the ground up. You need to learn to see me, the real me, not the reflection of your expectations or the shine of my success. Respect isn't inherited or bought. It has to be earned. Weeks turn into months. The initial awkwardness begins to thaw, replaced by a tentative, fragile understanding. I invite them to AuraTech, not for a photo op, not to impress them with the skill of my achievement, but to show them my world, the place where I truly came alive, walking them through the buzzing innovation labs, introducing them to the brilliant minds I work alongside, explaining the complex projects tackling real-world problems. It's a different kind of introduction. They listen, truly listen. Perhaps for the first time, there is a dawning respect in their eyes, not just for the money or the status, but for the work itself, for the passion driving it. Julian asks surprisingly insightful questions about market strategy. Claire seems genuinely fascinated by the VR simulations. My parents observe, quieter now, a newfound humility in their posture. We stand on the observation deck of the AuraTech Tower, the city stretching out before us. My city, my empire, my life, finally integrated. My family stands slightly behind me. There's still a distance, a space created by years of misunderstanding that won't vanish overnight. Healing is a process, not an event. Reconciliation requires more than apologies. It demands consistent effort, genuine change, and mutual respect. Looking out at the skyline, I feel a sense of peace settle over me, deeper than the fleeting satisfaction of vindication. The victory wasn't just in revealing the truth, but in surviving the journey, in staying true to my vision and my grandfather's belief when everything else tried to pull me down. The true measure of success, I realize, isn't the IPO valuation or the headlines. It's the quiet strength found in resilience, the courage to pursue your passion against the grain, the ability to build your own worth independent of external validation. The world's judgment, especially the judgment of those closest to you, can inflict deep wounds, carving scars onto your soul. But those same scars can become maps, guiding you towards unexpected strength, fueling a determination you never knew you possessed. Forgiveness is possible, even necessary for one's own peace, but trust and respect must be rebuilt, brick by careful brick, on a foundation of authentic understanding. They are learning, and so am I. The empire was built. Now, perhaps, the bridges could be too, on my terms. How do you find today's story? Leave a comment below. If you like this video, please like and share. Especially don't forget to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss our interesting and exciting stories.